and welcome to our series. We have another fantastic interview and profile, and I welcome to the series Ized Uanikhehi. I didn't spell it right. I try, but I'm terrible with accents.
You tried a little bit.
I tried too much and it didn't work. But well, Ized is the co-founder and managing director and CMO of Loose Media, an experimental and digital marketing and tech solutions company out of Nigeria, and as well as been working in a lot of other countries in Africa. Before that, she was the co-founder of a startup called Tora Africa, an impact-driven human resources technology startup that focus on the informal sector. And she's as well part of the fantastic platform and community that is the largest community of digital marketeers in Africa called DIGICLAN, which is quite amazing, that looks at the concept of Ubuntu to empower the community and as well the business and the growth, which I love a lot. And actually I've been involved with another project called Ubuntu. It's a small world. So Ized is still a very young lady, but she's a very serious entrepreneur with a lot of capacity for digital, and as well trying to look at life goals and bridge the digital sector, especially between African community and collaboration, but as well around the world. And she's been working a lot in digital technology advocacy for helping startups promote their business. And she is a graduate from biochemistry with 15 years in working in technology and digital. So welcome to our series, Ized, and I'm looking forward to talk with you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Dinis. Nice to be here.
No, my pleasure. So can you spell your name properly and tell us about the name? Because it's very beautiful, but I'm terrible. I'm sorry for that.
My name is Ized Uanikhehi. It's a Nigerian name from a village in Edo State in Nigeria. It means that I am wealthy in people. My surname Uanikhehi means that I'm rich in people. I have large networks and connections. So,
which is wonderful for you.
Yes,
it's a perfect name for you because that's exactly your magic, or one of your magics. No, wonderful. So I would like to start because I think, first of all, I love Africa, and I've been working with multiple countries in Africa, although I didn't visit all the countries, but it's still in my list. But one of the things I'd like to hear is about your background, because I think it's interesting for someone. I'm in London, I'm Portuguese, a bit French. Actually, I had when I was teaching in one of the business schools, one of my best students was a Nigerian young lady that I was mentoring for a long time, and I learned a lot about the different nuances of culture. So can you tell us a bit about that? Because Nigeria, of course, is so big country, yes, and people have a lot of different perceptions, but only the locals can talk about it.
Yes. So Nigeria is a very interesting country with lots of ethnic cultures and ethnic groups. I come from a really small ethnic group called Ora. It's in Edo State. Edo State is one of the 36 states in Nigeria. And so for Edo State is mostly arts focused. We're very artsy people. You can find a lot of our artworks in British museums and museums around the world. And I come from, my dad is an agriculturist, my mom is a teacher, and I come from a strong family of educationists. And that's it really.
Oh, that explains as well that passion. So in terms of your education, and you've been working in, so you studied actually biochemistry, but then you went digital, and you've been digital quite well all your most of your career. So can you tell us a bit about that background, how you went from that and how you went into digital, and as well some considerations about the education and how do you start using digital?
Yeah, so when I left school, while I was in school, I had already gotten into marketing a lot. I was studying biochemistry, but I was very, I like to do a lot of marketing. So I would work with people who had ideas of businesses. I was sort of like the middleman in school. People who had ideas of businesses, I would market their businesses or ideas to their target consumers, and then connect them and then get paid something in the middle. And so soon as I left school, I went straight into marketing. So I've always been, I started my marketing company right out of school. So I've always been in that field. And at some point, I discovered digital marketing, and I fell in love. And it was a much easier way to get a global audience, a wider audience with much less spend than the traditional marketing. So I started to learn in that field, and since then have grown in that field. I think that I was bitten by the digital marketing bug at some point, maybe in 2012. I think at that time, we're just sort of getting into the digital marketing space, and I fell in love with that industry, and I've been trying to grow myself basically by learning online, reading up as much as I can and studying as much as I can. And we sort of got to a point where I noticed that a lot of people in that space, because the barrier to entry in that space is really so little. And I noticed that a lot of people in that space didn't have the knowledge, or didn't have like grounded knowledge. And then, which is why we then decided to start DIGICLAN, where we can all learn from each other. So whatever I know, I teach. What you know, you teach. And it became a thing.
Wonderful. So, and one of the things I didn't mention in the intro, but I want to talk, is that you end up actually being a correspondent for CNN Africa. So
Yes,
can you tell us about that? Because I think, for instance, one of the things that happened recently in Nigeria with some of the riots and issues that we had there with the young population, most of that didn't come internationally for a long time, which is actually for me a bit of a crazy stuff and a failure completely of the international media. So I would like to touch a bit that as well, both your experience CNN, but as well your context on that, the media.
Okay, so one of the key things I know about, it's one of the key things I like to do actually is teach online. So whatever I know about digital marketing, I try to push it out online, so I get more people who are interested in digital marketing to learn and then join in the industry, because at the time I started, it wasn't a very big space. And so I would put out content on my social media talking about thought leadership. And soon it became a lot, as well as going around the different states in Nigeria, just trying to bridge that digital divide, training people, trying to get them to learn more about digital and how, you could move your business from the offline or the traditional methods to digital. And at some point I was approached to apply for the position of the social producer of CNN Africa, the CNN Africa Bureau here in Lagos. And I did, and I got the job. It was pretty straightforward.
And the rest was history, as they say.
Yes,
so, and
yeah.
in terms of that background of CNN, so what did I'm particularly interested, because you're quite still young, but how do the young generation of yours uses social media over there in Nigeria, which is actually one of the most advanced digital countries in the world? I've been working with a lot of Nigerians. I actually had a couple of Nigerian partners. And first of all, there's a massive market, but as well, there's a huge digital component. And it's been growing and accelerating independent of all the challenge in terms of infrastructure.
Yes,
Can you tell us a bit about that?
So it's interesting the way Nigerians use social media. We use it to communicate about everything. We use it to learn. We use it to, network. We use it to connect. We use it to grow our businesses. And and now we, especially with the ENSA's movement, we use it to drive change, especially with government and policy changes. And I'm super excited to be at the point, or at the time where this is happening. I think we typically say we did not inherit the silence of our fathers, but what it is our fathers didn't have access to digital media and digital marketing, and that gives us a global reach. So just being able to utilize the platform to drive change by sharing our voices or sharing our opinions, or even sharing a video of something that is happening, something that is going wrong, has given the world an ear to our problems. And I think it's exciting the way we're using digital marketing around here, not just for policy changes to grow our business. So businesses in Nigeria having like a more global audience, a more global reach. We're reaching people who would typically not have heard about what we do or how we do, and now we're able to reach customers and clients from around the world. So we're also using it to learn, especially with the COVID and the lockdown and the corona that happened. We're able to use digital to learn about for schools, and especially for people like me who typically didn't have classes or universities at the time that digital marketing was being taught. So just being able to go online and learn about technology and learn about digital marketing, I think that that's amazing for where we are. I think I'm slightly nervous and I'm blabbing a tiny little bit.
No, you're doing very well, actually, no worries. Actually, it's amazing because I think you are a natural communicator, probably not used to be in front of the cameras on this level, but it's great. So I want to touch one thing that I'm particularly interested. So you have a background, like you mentioned, from the university where you started working in terms of empowering startups and helping a lot of things, and then you create your own startup, your first one, Tora, that it was going pretty well, but then you had the challenge of changes of politics and things like that. But one of the things you mentioned in your background is that you've been working in the concept of Ubuntu, which is a very special concept. Do you want to talk about that before we go to your career and your different things?
Okay, so Ubuntu is an ancient African principle that speaks to the interconnectedness of humans. It means I am who I am because of who you are. And it's the principle and the foundation on which the clan, the DIGICLAN Africa group was set up. Because I felt like if I know A and you know B and somebody else knows C, if we come together and learn from each other, we will all know ABC, because now you've taught me and he's taught me and I've taught you guys, and then together we can all learn and we can grow not just the individual, but we can grow the industry. So the digital marketing space in the tech industry was at an all-time, it wasn't as advanced as it was in the diaspora and in other countries. And there was too much hoarding of information and too much hoarding of knowledge. And so the DIGICLAN Africa was founded on the principles of sharing, and sharing not just information, sharing your network, sharing your data, sharing insights, such that I won't make the mistakes that you already made and you won't make the mistakes that I've already made. And that was how we grew the clan, on that principle of sharing and connections and network. And we started the clan 2017 with only about 40 people, and it has grown so big that we have almost 6,000 people, but 4,000 registered members. We have over 6,000 people from across Africa, just sharing knowledge and information and helping each other grow in the industry as well as grow grow individually. I feel like that community and just that African sense of sharing has helped us grow technology very fast in the past couple of years in Africa. I wrote about it in CNN. I talked about how the principle of community has helped us grow, as opposed to competitions and working in solo groups, has helped us to grow technology in Africa. I think that that's the foundation on which technology has actually spiraled. The growth of technology has actually advanced very fast in Africa. The principle of communities and sharing.
Yeah, this is actually more important than ever right now. Like you mentioned, we are all digital around the world. We still have the countries, actually not still, we have the countries, but the countries are all very fragmented. And as well, we're starting to have more like this Ubuntu as a concept that can be used for anything, but it's really very important. So can you tell us about DIGICLAN? You mentioned DIGICLAN, and as well, I think it's a massive, just how it works, what it is, because I would like to know more. And I think for people around the world that never heard about it, because I think it's beautiful what you try to do, but as well as a huge impact if it's scaled properly.
Yes, so DIGICLAN, again, I said, was set up on the principle of Ubuntu, and it was set up to bridge the digital divide across Africa. We started in Nigeria, but we've slowly spread across West Africa, and we're also in Kenya right now. We're in Kenya, we're in Uganda, we're in South Africa. So DIGICLAN is a community of digital media professionals, people working in that space, digital marketing, whether in tech, whether in whether you're an SEO specialist or you're a content producer, or you're a content marketer, as long as you work in the digital media industry, you can be a member of the clan. You just need to apply and then join the clan. Once you join the clan, there's a lot of sharing of information. The more senior members of the clan teach the more younger members of the clan, or the enthusiasts or the new entrants into the community. People share information. So if you have data on a specific industry, and I'm about to start working in that industry, I don't have to start to gather that same data again. There's a lot of sharing of knowledge, there's a lot of sharing of information in the clan. More importantly, beyond just training and sharing of knowledge in the clan, there's a lot of spread of important information. So for example, if I have a business and I pushed it towards the clan can help drive the growth of the business. So there's a lot of community building in the clan. And our key goal is to bridge the digital divide, as well as the digital gender divide, especially in Africa. So we go out, we have specific trainings for women, we have specific trainings for people. There are places in Nigeria even where they haven't heard of social media or digital marketing. And so we try to train these people, show them how to get whatever it is, whatever businesses they're doing online, and push the advantages more of social media marketing, digital media marketing, technology to these people. So that's what we do with the clan. It keeps evolving. Yeah.
But it's amazing, actually. That's I think it's something very important, because you can actually create a lot of social impact, but as well a lot of business. You can empower a lot of people with the platform, and actually 6,000 professionals. It's 6,000 companies, so it's a congratulations for that work, because this is every professional is normally a community on its own. So I want to talk right now. So you created as well Loose Media. So can you tell us about the project and what it is and what you're doing, and some case studies? Because I know that it's quite a young company, but it's quite interesting, and I'm interested as well in companies like yours.
Yeah. So Loose Media started May. Just this last year, May 2020. We actually adopted the name from a previously owned company, Loose Media. We just sort of took it over because it had closed for a bit, and we restarted the company and got into marketing. So we are into digital marketing services. We promote brands online, where we do SEO, influencer marketing. Basically, our goal is to solve the problems that the brands that we're working with are facing. So whatever it is that the brands need to get in terms of KPIs, in terms of meeting their target audience, in terms of reaching, whatever target audience they need to reach, wherever the target audience is around the world. Our goal is to ensure that the clients meet their KPIs, and we've done that pretty well too. For say about all of our clients, and we have very high retention with our clients. So we haven't done any marketing for Loose Media as a business. What we do right now is we ensure that whatever clients that we're working with, we're doing really well with the clients, and as such, so that client tells the next client and tells the next client. And we started with one client. We're at 21 right now, and we started May 2020. So we feel like that's a pretty good track record so far.
Congratulations, that's amazing. And I know that it's not easy, especially to lead companies nowadays with COVID-19 and all the disruption coming out of that. So it's very good. So one of the things I want to talk, you've been working a lot in the bridge between digital, so digital transformation, both from an education, but as well from a social impact. So that is something very dear to me, and I've been actually involved in a lot of projects on that. But it's very difficult as well, because the devil is on details, and especially the relationship between education and as well using digital literacy to empower people, because you can actually create so much stuff. And this is one of the things that I've been trying to do both with Africa in actually a big project before, but I've been finding it very difficult sometimes to join people with the same goal, and as well still getting concrete results. And one of the things as well that is key is precisely young ladies and young digital powerhouses and influencers. So I would like to talk about that, and especially the context of Nigeria, and you mentioned as well the other countries where I've been working in Africa.
Okay. So the good thing for us is, just having that community. It's easy for us to, I think that one of the key things around here, especially in Nigeria and in Africa, is trust. I think trust is the wages of social media, of properly done social media marketing. And so once you've been able to build trust, it's easy to it's easy to penetrate into those industries and into those groups and into those communities that you need to reach. So what we've done with the community is when we're about to go to another community or go to another state or go to another location, we work with DIGICLAN members already in that location, people that they already trust. So it's easy for us to have that spread and that reach without necessarily making a lot of effort. And also there's also the use of testimonials and track records. Is when you get into a new place, even if you don't have anybody who's like the evangelist for your community, you're able to say, this is what we've done and this is what we've done in this other place. And so people are more likely to trust you because you've shown evidence of the work that you've done, and then they're more likely to try you out. And so for us, our track record has spoken for us, and then the community has been able to help us build that growth.
That's amazing. And so I would like to understand, so from, I know that, for instance, in Nigeria, there's Nollywood. You have a lot of alternative, quite big communities. Can you tell us a bit about some of these influencers that you've been working with and some of these 6,000 members of DIGICLAN? Because it's quite impressive number. But I know that you have both people that are experts in making digital marketing, you have influencers, you have communities. So a bit of that background, and as well, how you've been interacting with that, because you've been building that. So it's quite amazing as well.
Yeah, so for some of the brands that we've worked with influencers that are really good. So for one of our clients, V Bank, we work with influencer Don Jazzy, who is a music producer. He used to be a musician himself, who's a music producer. He's a record label owner and basically a businessman. And he has a very huge influence. I think he has about 10 million followers on social media. And he was able to help us push that brand for that particular business. But for other businesses, it's just about matching the right influencers, whether they are Nollywood artists or Nollywood actors with, the right brand. So it's not just about influencer marketing is not necessarily about just picking up any influencer because they have a lot of influence. It's about making sure that we match the right influencers with the right brands and to drive the growth of that brand. The DIGICLAN community has a lot of influencers, too numerous to mention. We have people like Pamela in the DIGICLAN. We have Kenneth Ibe. Pamela is a very huge influencer in the Nigerian space. We have Kenneth Ibe, who is also a huge influencer in the Nigerian space. He's in DIGICLAN Ibadan. And we have, there's a lot of influencers that we work with to drive growth across, especially from the clan. We prefer to work with influencers in the clan because these are people that we can trust to deliver on. Because one of the key things the clan does is beyond just training you, they sort of ensure that you can deliver, you are held accountable to deliver on the task that you're giving, whether by a client or whether the task comes from us. So the clan also holds you accountable. You're committed to doing the jobs that you're paid for. And so we sort of just, try to work with members of the clan, and we've been able to do very well working with these people.
Amazing. So keeping a bit on that, and I'm particularly interested to go through the layers. So yeah. Africa, of course, is a continent. There was a lot of polemic because there was an article that said Africa is a lost continent, but I actually think is the contrary. I think Africa is the future continent. So, and I think definitely what I've been seeing working with multiple countries in Africa, there's a passion for learning, a passion for doing things that sometimes in Europe we have all this division that everyone wants to be the king of whatever, but not do that much work as well. So can you tell us a bit about that part, how you see Africa, especially someone so young and full of energy that is leading that? Because I think it's particularly important, especially for demystifying, but as well to understand the dynamics that are there. Because I feel, for instance, I did a project with a country in Africa, and I started a small wave of fintech, mostly because I was just doing 2 or 3 conferences. And sometimes it's there's so much that can be done, but it's just about giving the tools to the people and teaching them. So I would like to hear your views on that, especially giving your work on that?
Yeah. So for us here in Africa, I think that right now we're more on a collaboration pathway as opposed to a competition thing. I mean, the competition is still there, but we're very focused on collaborating and sharing jobs. So if for example, you brought a job to me and I'm very good with SEO, but the job that you brought requires me to do a bit of content marketing and I don't know content marketing, as opposed to, try to be competitive and do it on my own, I would collaborate with somebody who's really good at content marketing. And together we will be able to deliver very well on your job, thus making sure that we do much better for you, as opposed to competing and trying to get the jobs on our own. So there's a huge collaboration thing right now going on here in Africa, especially with members of the DIGICLAN. We always say collaboration is the new competition. And I think that collaboration and that community is what is driving the industry growth and what is driving all of that learning. We're very passionate about learning more about this industry, and we haven't quite caught up yet, but we're very, very headed there. We're very focused on catching up and, beating the rest of the world in this space, actually. And we're doing that because we're doing that faster than we typically would have done because we're working together. If you want to go far, you go alone. If you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. So we're going far because we're going together. So there's a lot of collaboration, there's a lot of learning, and you can learn from anybody. I didn't find the clan, so because you said something about being a founder of the clan. I don't think you can found a community. I think that I just convened the community. These people were ready. So I'm a convener and the evangelist of the clan, sort of, so to speak, tech evangelist of the clan. I'm the convener of the clan. But this community was ready to do this and collaborate and grow. And so it was just, I was just lucky that the people were in the right space and with the right mind to do this. And that has actually also helped us grow far, not just fast, far, because we're working together.
Amazing. I love that quote. I will probably make it reverberated. I think you should put it as the collaboration is the new competition. I love it. Yes. I think it says a lot, and I think it's so important because it's one of the things that I love, but it's not easy because creating partnerships and creating collaborations is very difficult, and especially implies, like you just said, actually that's probably the definition of clan. That is a relationship between families. Sometimes, of course, if it's vibrant, sometimes it gets some negative connotations, but it's very positive as well. And that's one of the things I love about Africa. So can you tell us more about this? So the way you've been creating, because 6,000 people is quite an impressive number, but some of the things you've been doing, especially like case studies, you mentioned a lot of things about education, about initiatives, and as well about the entrepreneurial part that you've been sharing with the client, but as well with your company. Because I think it's something that I'm particularly interested both for the context of the platform Cities ABC and as well the Open Business Council that we're working, and as well that is part of this podcast.
Yeah. So for the clan, right? What it is the DIGICLAN is actually composed of new entrants into the market, say about 7-6 years in the industry. People who have been in this industry for a bit are, I'm not going to say old school, but those are the people that would typically prefer to hoard the information that they have as opposed to share it with the clan. And so on this other side, where we have all of these young people that are collaborating together and working together, they are able to then share knowledge and information. But knowledge and data and information that we have is young, is new, is sort of recent. So we're still building this data, we're still building this information that will help grow, improve the individuals and improve our work. And so I was headed somewhere to your question about people working alone and the individuals working in the clan. So whilst we're still gathering this data, there's a lot of learning that is going into it, and then there's a lot of learning that is being supplied by, it's like a cloud, like big data. Like, I have I have a job with a client in maybe like the FMCG industry, and I have a case study and a lot of learnings from the client. So I create my case study and I share with my community. And then somebody has another client who is maybe in the event space or in the event industry and has worked with the client, and then they share their case study, including where they failed and what they did well and how they did well, and then they share it to the industry with the community. And what we do is we dissect it and we say, maybe you should have done this, or perhaps if you did this, it would have been better. And then we discuss it such that when the next person has another client who is in either of those two industries, they're able to perform better for that client. So just gathering this data and knowledge and information from our different jobs or from our different industries or from our different clients or whatever it is that we're doing has also, as a group, impacted on how well the industry is doing here in Africa. I was trying to do something.
No. It's very good, and I think it's key. So I want to touch a couple more questions, and then so in terms of so we are among COVID-19. I know that COVID-19 has been not affecting Africa so much, at least directly, because indirectly I'm sure it is. But of course, there's other problems probably bigger. So COVID doesn't become so big compared with the other problems. But as well as been accelerating digital transformation, especially worldwide, and worldwide is actually the biggest single digital acceleration in history of mankind, because we have probably the last year we advanced more in digital than we advanced in the last 20 or 50 years. But at the same time, most of these tools that you've been talking are not perceived by people. Everyone has, even in Africa, where I've been working for a long time, everyone has a phone, everyone has Facebook at least. Whatever is 3G or 4G or even 2G, whatever, people are still communicating. For instance, I was very, actually, in some ways, super inspired because I work with some communities of small business in Africa, and they were using WhatsApp to do their entire business. And it was working, and actually it was in 2G and so forth, or 3G. And then even me in the deserts in the Sahara Desert and all the bridge, I was still getting some 3G, and we can actually do a lot of stuff, even in the small markets and so forth. So sometimes people, but one of the things that I found out in, at least the multiple countries I've been working, is there's a sense of hope and the sense of dignity that is quite unique. Because for instance, even if you go to San Francisco, you can see the homelessness, and you feel probably more desperate sometimes, even if it's a very wealthy and sexy city. But you go to some areas of San Francisco, you get completely sometimes depressed. And when I see in Africa, even with all the neighborhoods independent of stuff, you see a dynamic. So I want to hear, I know that Nigeria is super full of energy. So I want to hear a bit about, first of all, this part of, do you see digital transformation in the sense of the future and the present, especially for our generations and your generation that is younger, and as well how you see these, all the impacts of the things that are happening, because we have COVID-19, but you have at the same time artificial intelligence, you have a lot of disruption with the countries, but then you have all of these different things. I would like to hear a bit about that.
Okay, so necessity is the mother of invention. I think that with the corona and the lockdown, some of those things that we struggled against accepting are things that we have to accept now. As simple as remote working is, we would come to the office every single day to work, but now a lot of businesses are accepting remote working and working from home, and platforms like Zooms or Teams for meetings. I think that with what Corona actually did for us, I mean, I'm not saying Corona was positive or anything. Nobody wants COVID in their country, but I think the positive thing to come out from this is there's a bit more focus on technology, or using technology to solve problems that we typically would have, done manually or traditionally. Logistics, for example, e-commerce has grown in Nigeria, and more people are shopping online as opposed to going to the market or going to the stores. Logistics is so much better, and then just being able to request food. I mean, prior to COVID, I would surprise you. Prior to COVID, I had say besides pizza, I'd never really requested a plate of food from an online shop. But once the lockdown was there, I had to, because I couldn't go out to my favorite shops to go and request it. So I think that technology acceptance will come and is coming. And I think that what is needed is a culture shift, sort of like a training. The technology is there. Our people are smart. They're building this technology, the big data, IoT. We have AI, artificial intelligence, robotics here in Africa, but the people are not yet there in terms of being able to utilize this technology or utilize this data. And I think that just that culture shift and that mind shift and that training with the necessary skills and how to utilize this data will ensure that we're growing with the world and being a part of all of these, new technologies and these improved technologies that are coming up. It is slow. We're getting there. It's slow, but we're slowly catching on. We're slowly catching on, especially with this lockdown and not being able to travel and not being able to access where we typically would have accessed manually or traditionally. And I think that it will come. Big data, it will come. We will get there. You can't force Africans to do a thing. You have to show them how, and you have to show them the benefits of what they get from doing that thing or using that technology. And with time, and then the good thing is once one person catches on, or once a group of people catch on to it, boom! It's like the whole. It'll almost be like within a year or 2 years, the entire continent has caught on to it. So I feel like we're getting there slowly, but as soon as we catch on, as soon as we develop the right skills, so I feel like right now the focus should be on training people to get the right skills to be able to utilize this new technology that's coming up. And as soon as people are trained, the people who know will train the people who don't, and we'll train the people who don't, because that's what we do. We collaborate and we build communities. And as soon as we catch on, all the way to the top. And this energy you speak of and this lack of depression that you speak of is mostly because when you're at the bottom, the only way out is up. And so we're super excited. That's as good as it gets. We're super excited about taking over technology and going all the way up.
Yeah, well, I think you're not in the bottom because you have the biggest resources in the world.
No,
You have very young population and a lot of other things. I think there's a misperception. Whereas if you go to, just without going any politics, but if you go to the United States, you have areas that are much poorer than any place in Africa. So, or at least at the same level. So, and then even in Europe, you have a lot of this inequality. So I think it's sometimes a lot of how we push things forward. Yeah, yeah, you know what I mean. So one of the questions I have is precisely, it's kind of your work day to day is you interact with a lot of SMEs and sometimes big companies,
Yes.
but as well with startup ecosystem. So can you tell us about the SME and the startup ecosystem in Nigeria? Because I know there's a huge dynamics there that doesn't have a lot of attention international. I invest in a company over there and I've been involved in a couple. And what I feel is that there's amazing technology, amazing, even digital, for as I've been working with a lot of people, there's a lot of great things, but sometimes there's not so much international visibility. So I would love to hear a bit about your perception on that. Yeah.
Yeah, so for SMEs here in Nigeria, I think that if you can do an SME, if you can create an SME or found a company here in Nigeria and be successful, you can be successful anywhere else in the world, because there's a lot of battles that an SME owner here in Africa or in Nigeria has to actually fight to be able to succeed. There's this lack of electricity. We don't have 24 hours electricity. There's a lot of bureaucracy and government issues. I founded a startup in 2019 that had to shut down in 2020 because there was a ban. The government came up with a new policy and a ban that typically just collapsed the entire business. There was nothing to go back to because 1 minute we were successful and then the next minute government policy had shut us down without long-term warning for us to be able to adjust. So there's a lot of struggles that an SME owner here in Africa would typically need to fight to be able to be successful. But still, there's a lot of, again, like I said previously, necessity is the mother of invention. Because of all of that, these SME owners are coming up with solutions to African problems that are really key and you can't typically find everywhere else around the world. Given the example that you spoke of, fintech, there's a lot of fintech innovations here in Africa that I couldn't find. Maybe they're there in the US, but when I traveled to the US, it was really difficult to be able to do like an instant transfer using an SMS code from my phone, like transfer money from my phone to somebody else's phone, so somebody else's account, just by typing an SMS code. So sending a text to a particular number, and then cash is transferred from my account to another account. And so I feel like the innovations here, the technological innovations here are based on solving Africans' problem or Nigeria's problem. And these SMEs are doing very well and they've been able to succeed. We have really good fintech products coming out of Nigeria, coming out of Africa. We have health tech solutions coming out of Africa, really amazing health tech solutions. We have really amazing agricultural tech solutions coming out of Africa. And I think that the key innovations and solutions that will maybe save the world in a couple of years are coming out of Africa. And I think that it's best for VCs and investors to start looking this way, because there's a lot of key technology or key innovations coming out of Africa right now, and it is solving a lot of problems here in Africa.
Yeah, completely, and I'm completely bold on that, and I think it's clear. So I think we're passing close to an hour, so I have still 2 more questions that I want to talk. So in terms of you've been working in the crossover between entrepreneurs and digital, and this is exactly the future of technology and the future of business. Is all about this bridge, like you mentioned, that the technology is the new business in a lot of ways, and I think it will be much more important. So how do you see this in the context of Africa that is quite still mixed with a lot of different, for instance, we have in one end the very advanced projects, for instance, like even the American musician that is just creating a new city, a new smart city over there in Africa. Then you have a lot of different things. So just a bit of a new overview from you, a native from Nigeria, that has as well a lot of components on this thing. So how do you see your vision for the present and future of Africa, especially when it comes to the digital and the business world?
For me, I think that the biggest innovation for the world will come out of Africa in a short while, in a really short while, because we're primed and we're smart, and we're already working on this technology, especially given where we are at the moment. There's a lot of problems to solve. There's a lot of innovations to be built around these problems, and I feel like that focus will ensure that the biggest technology advancements, the biggest innovations in technology in these times will come from Africa. How do I put it? Digital economy. I see an Africa that is fully digitalized. I see an Africa that is into AI and advanced innovations. I have a vision that with the right learning, with the right training, I see an Africa that will surpass the expectations of the world. I see an Africa that is, in terms of technology advancements, I see an Africa that will surpass the expectations of the world. I see an Africa, because I see all of this really excited and energetic Africans, youth, and they're trying to build something that's, sorry. I'm just really passionate about this. I feel like we'll surpass the world's expectations in terms of technology. I mean, as big as you think it's going to be, it will be even bigger. We will surpass the expectations in terms of innovations here. because we're solving actual problems and real problems. I'm not saying that people from around the world are not solving problems, but we're solving real-time problems with this technology advancement. We just need maybe a little bit more funding, a little bit more access to some of these learnings and these trainings, and a little bit more access to some of these materials that can be used to solve these problems. And we will do really well. The vision I have for Africa is, with this rate that we're going, with the kind of youths that we have, the energetic, passionate people that we have now, I see a digital-led economy in the nearest future, a very technological, advanced economy in the nearest future. That's my vision for Africa. And I think that is beyond a vision. I think it's something that is actually going to happen. And I think that I feel very strongly that this is an Africa that, you know, the youths around here, they're poised to take over technology and be like top leaders in technology, not just technology, in finances, in agriculture, in, you know, everything from around the world. I see that happening soon. I see that happening soon.
Amazing. So,
and I'm glad to be part of it. Yeah.
No, you are part of it. You're building it. I think in the end of the day, it's about the vision you put and the capacity to execute. If you look at any big successful entrepreneur in the history of mankind, is all about the drive. How much drive you have and how much you put efforts on it. And I think that's probably where people miss the boat. Is there's enough money out there if you look for it, and if you are stubborn as well. You need to be very stubborn and very persistent, and that is the most difficult one. Yeah. So as I wrap up, Ized, and I have a lot of things that I want to talk as well, but I want to wrap up. So in terms of the work you're doing right now with Loose Media, and in terms of the things, can you tell just a bit of the focus, and especially the work you've been doing in the areas of case studies of companies and social impact and SMEs and startups, because I'm interested to that area.
Okay, so for Loose Media, we're focused on data-driven marketing, data-driven digital marketing. Around here, more than most, there's a lot of intuition marketing. I feel like we should do this, or I feel like we should do that. We actually at Loose Media, we're focused on data-driven marketing, and ensuring that with every client we work with, it's not about, so for us, it's not about spending all that money if they don't need to spend money. We're very focused on ensuring cost-effective marketing for our SME clients, or for the businesses that we're working with. So we analyze a company, analyze what their objectives are, what their goals are. We do competitors analysis, find out exactly where they need to grow and what platforms they need to be on, who their target audience is. We study this target audience. We know how they utilize online social media and whatever online platforms that they are on. And then we ensure that we are actually reaching these customers in the way that they would prefer to be reached, as opposed to spamming them with content and then not being able to reach our objectives and goals. And so that's what we're doing with Loose Media, ensuring that we're doing data-driven marketing, cost-effective marketing for all of the SMEs and brands that we're working with, such that we reach KPIs 100% of the time.
Amazing. So that's fantastic, and I think a good way to wrap up. So I don't know if you want just for the people looking at us, where people can find DIGICLAN, Loose Media, and about your profiles as well, because I think that's the idea of this channel as well, is to promote fantastic leaders like you.
Yeah. So I'm on social media, all my social media platforms as Zegua, ZEGBUA. I guess you're going to put it on the screen somewhere.
Yes, we'll put it there.
ZEGBUA, Zegua. Loose Media is on social media as Loose Media HQ. Loose with LOOSE Media HQ, or Loose Media NG, Loose Media NG. And so LOOSE Media NG on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and on Facebook. And so if you reach us on any of our platforms, we're able to respond immediately. We also are online at www.loosemedia.com. And so you can just reach out to us via our website. And then for DIGICLAN, it's www.digiclan.africa, www.digiclan.africa, or you can follow us on social media at DIGICLAN Africa across social media platforms. So it's DIGICLAN Africa across social media platforms. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys.
Thank you so much. So wonderful, is that I'm actually looking forward to continue collaborating with you, and we'll put this and promote this to the world. And I know that you're going to be a growing superstar. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I'm sorry I was a bit nervous when I was answering some of the questions, but I'm really excited.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
just passionate about it. Thank you so much.